Welcome back to another weekly roundup here on Leading Crypto. As we're going to go into our holiday weekend here, we're going to talk about some price action as we finish up the week that we went through, some of the trades that we could have took, would have took, and did take along the way from Monday till now, and just kind of the next levels to watch here for Bitcoin, Ethereum, DXY, and possibly the SPX. If you did enjoy that new intro this morning, shout out to Nick in the group. He actually sent that to us. He made that for us yesterday, which is really great. We all enjoy that a lot. And then we also get the grace today of Magic in a very festive, Rick and Morty Christmas sweater. So for your viewing pleasure there. As always, we jump right into the TA. We come to you live as early, as we can around that 10 a.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. So we're just going to jump right on into it. If you guys enjoy our content, make sure to like and subscribe. And we're going to start off with the Magic Elf over here and talk about some Bitcoin.
I see what you did there. Yeah, that's usually Max. I expect that kind of lowbrow humor from, but
hey, yeah. Mistletoe Magic. I mean, you've been very festive this month, more than me. And I'm in the North Pole.
You guys go. So Mistletoe Magic is still rolling.
It's lit even. Look at that.
It smells like midnight vanilla in here, which is essentially my musk.
It's probably keeping you warm over there.
It's the only thing that's keeping the pipes not freezing. No, I was smart enough to go out and get extra portable heaters. Candles, candles, just in case. No, portable heaters to kind of help keep the pipes from freezing. But anyway, let's pop into the charts and we'll take a look at what's going on here instead of talking about my pipes. Yeah. So actually we're on the SPX first, might as well, since we're already here. If you guys recall, this was the area we were looking for in terms of a bounce, mainly because this is going to be the first target of your shark at the 0.5, right? You also got your 2021 open here, and the Q4 pivot was hanging out here. So this little blue box has been super well respected. It's basically the resolution of this little zone here between 37.64 and 38.31 is kind of dictate the next move for the SPX. SPX normally doesn't get very large moves, so the next box is all the way up here. I know, big jump, 39.23, so about $100 move. But in traditional markets, that's a fairly good size one. So if you reclaim 38.31, I would look for the back test into this region. Nothing changes for me in terms of the direction of this until this 39.23 level becomes support, preferably just a little bit higher at 39.61, excuse me. That is where you're going to find your 2022 point of control. You'll also find your quarterly point of control there. I think we've gone over this before, but we're going to go ahead and revisit it. And if you went to a 6-month time frame, even all your major point of controls come in here in this box right here at the 24M that we've been, kind of talking about for several weeks and months even. So this is going to be an important area on the chart. If you can get back above it, things might start to look a little bit different. We have our regression here showing us the trend is still down. What happens if we get above this box? We're back outside of the regression here. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. And maybe we can get that trending move back above the Q1 low, which has been the key level. One thing I do want to touch on is the high time frames here. It's something we haven't done too much of recently anyway. And so that Q1 low, I'll show you why it's so important. And we're going to talk about the Q4 open here as well. But if we go down to a monthly time frame and you're looking at this line right here, I'm going to go ahead and make it a solid line for you guys so it's easier to see. And then probably the opacity set to 69. We'll go ahead and just make it extra thick. And there you go. So this is your Q1 low. And this is a level that I've been talking about since all the way back over here. And you can see why. This is the level that needs to get reclaimed if you want to find your way back into this subsection of price to do any kind of a bear market rally or any attempts at new highs, like a new trend, for instance, which I don't think is happening. But if you go out to the quarterly level now, you can see it's a perfect back test. But your Q4 open at 36.09, way down here, is going to be untapped most likely, in the coming days. We've got about a week, 8 days left, and markets aren't going to be trading over the weekend. And I don't know if they have Monday off or not. I'd have to look. I don't know how that's working out with traditional markets, but I'd be hard pressed to think that this doesn't look like this coming into next year, meaning that we would expect to see this get filled, a backfill of that quarterly level. And then that's really going to be the line in the sand to me that I personally wouldn't want to come down here too soon. It would look pretty bad to just come all the way down here, in my opinion. I think at that point, you're just targeting new lows, but it will be support until it is not. So 3609 on the SPX, S&P 500 is going to be a level that you want to keep on your chart. And obviously the 2021 low is here, and we'll have a new 2022 low right here as well. So that is it for the SPX right now, just kind of sideways range bound. Again, really only focused on two areas of the chart, right? Got to have one of these two boxes. Resolution is going to give us our next targets. If we lose this box here, I would expect to see the 2021 low, probably that Q4 open though. So whatever happens in this little mini range that we've got here is going to be fairly important for coming into the new year. And that'll affect Bitcoin, of course. Bitcoin not doing anything either. Still range bound. I know there was some action this morning. I was not awake, believe it or not. I got a little bit into the sauce last night post live stream, and found out that I don't really have a liquor tolerance still. So I did sleep in a little bit, not gonna lie. But December open is still the key area to get back above. And this was that candle we were looking at. I'll let Max go over that in the order flow. But it looks like, 2020 style Darth Maul candle. So probably going for everyone's stops, but nothing changes until you're back above basically 17. If you get above 17, I know the December opens at 17,148, but I think I would be looking up to the pivots at 17.2. That would be the area that I'd be most interested in. I'm curious about this. Yeah, your Monday range actually has gotten things really, really well. So if you were just trading this based on the Monday range trade setup, basically anytime you've gone inside the Monday low, you just trade it back to the high and vice versa. You can trade it to the midline and then down to the low. So this has actually been a really easy area to spot in terms of local price action. And when we zoom out to like the high time frames, just like we did on the SPX, we're looking at the quarterlies right now. So 3-month candles. You can see that Q2 low at 17.5 really is going to be the most important area on the high time frame. So like material closures, like a month, quarterly candles, I wouldn't even put the weekly in that ballpark. I would say monthly and above. 17.567 is just such an important area. And then when we get into the monthly, we can start saying, well, if we're looking at the monthly, maybe we start considering 17.148 as a really key level, because that starts to dribble into the low time frames, which, then like your weekly candles, things like that. So you're still holding the range here, technically trying to put in a higher low. You break above the December open. I do think that, 17.2 is on the table. This would be the area right here on a weekly time frame at 17.174 that you need to close above, right? So again, as we're talking about this, the weekly time frame as though it's a low time frame to be, comparing. But if you were to get a weekly closure above this, or if it was like intra-week, and you get a closure above the December open, maybe get a back test on like a daily candle, then you can start looking at this. Are we going to push to 17.5 again? Which to me would seem likely. We would come up there and probably fill this out a little bit more. I believe that is the high of our range as well. Let me take a look on ATS just real quick. Yeah, 17,467.50 would be the value area high for me. So if you get back above 17,148, I know it's not a huge move, but we've been, kind of gifted this sideways chop action, unfortunately, for the holidays. But yeah, if you get back above the December open, or even just probably the local high here at, what is this? What is our local high? Like 17,080 something, 17,048. I think if you turn this into support, get in this box, start living in it, it tends to make sense. I think that we would try to make an attempt into the value area high of the overall range at 17,467. But again, I'm going to always tell you, take it level to level. Don't forget that your pivots are up here at 17.2, and then walk it up from there. So to the downside, nothing has changed. You start breaking down from here. Again, this is kind of your line in the sand here. It starts to really come in around 16,429. You start losing this local, support here. You can see there's really nothing between you and the lows. And I really wouldn't put any major weight on this being support if we revisit it at like 15.7. I just don't think it makes any sense to come down here and then not make a new low. And whether that low is just a few dollars or it's continuation to the downside, that's, yet to be seen if that scenario plays out. But right now you are range bound between about 16.5 and $17,000, give or take a few Satoshis, I guess is how we'll word that. But I don't really have anything else, man. Like, that's it. Kind of the same levels we've been looking at and talking about. It's just a matter of if you've been, I think the term that people like to use is if you've been nimble enough to take advantage of this, whatever you want to call this. That's for the real low time frame, high frequency trader, probably not something that if you're not a day trader, you want to participate in. You want to be patient and wait for these areas of inflection and, really take advantage of those moves when, those interactions arise, because this has been, if you're not at your computer, this isn't something that you want to be trading from your phone, in my opinion, or anything like that. So it's the holidays, guys. Maybe we get a Santa rally to like 17.1, 17.2, maybe even as high as 17.5 if things get really out of hand, but I'm not really seeing anything too crazy at the moment. I'll turn it over to Max and let him do his thing.
Okay, so I'm going to be going over a little bit of what we were mentioning yesterday. We were talking about this box down here, the golden pocket. You front ran it by, where's the low? $4. So front ran by $4. However, it was a rather easy one to get into. So if we look at literally just this chart, looking at the volume, and obviously with PVA candles, you can spot the volume in the candles themselves. You can see it was quite a strong move down initially, but in the second, but then it front ran the level. Then in the second attempt, as we were coming down into it, you can see by the pink candle here that it was a lesser volume, so to speak. So these are 200% candles. These are 150% of the average of the last 10. So it's a weaker candle coming into the level. And if we go into the order flow and I zoom out, go back to down here, you can spot just in the, this one candle down that we had 27 million and a negative 12 million delta. And then the second attempt coming down, it was nothing, it was nowhere near comparable. It was nowhere near. So, but one thing that you can also spot here is you also had some shorts enter right at the lows pretty much. Then what do you get? Well, you get some, a bit of a delta switch up. It stalls a little bit before, it starts to get more green and you start to move away. Now, granted, if you were, die hard waiting for the level, you were front ran, but you can spot in the charts, you did have areas where you had very positive delta coming in. You had 2.5 here, 800K here. I think it was a 600K somewhere, 700K there. You had very positive delta start coming through after this weak attempt at pushing it down. So, you had your reasons as to getting into a trade here. Because, if you look at this attempt over here, you had 1.8 there. Granted, it was on positive open interest, but overall, the delta was more negative. So, the fact here you've got a lot more green. Front running the levels, got a lot more buying imbalances than you did over here. Kind of your signals to get into the trades. Now, where do we come up to? Well, we actually came and tapped the daily, which was untapped earlier today. Very nice TP for anyone that took it. Now, obviously, we all want to look at this Darth Maul candle. It's not really been too much that has occurred today. You've had open interest increasing with Delta, somewhat increasing, not as much as it has been as of late. But, it's been there. It's been climbing a little bit. But as you came up to the daily, you can see we had open interest decreasing. Granted, because of the volume being relatively high to what we've had so far in the day, you might be cautious to short this straight away on just the fact it's decreasing open interest. But similar thing to what occurred at the bottom, it stalls. You start to see a lot more red, or in this case, pale pink, which is like a weak negative delta. But then you start to get your signs where, some more heavy deltas coming in, and you're getting standing imbalances in this area on the chart. So, potential short, granted it wouldn't have paid you anything, but that was a potential trade. Now, to look at this Darth Maul, I actually have to go down to the 1 minute, because if we try and analyze it here, it looks like a lot of volume and a lot of open interest decreasing, and there's not really anything else to say from it. And to be fair, there isn't. I have already had a quick peek on the 1 minute. It's not the easiest to pick apart, but we'll try and do it together. So to zoom back and find it. So here it is. So you can see we came down, took the lows of the range. Let's have a look at the lows. You came right down, closed that hourly PVA out. Very nice. closed the hourly PVA out with very negative delta, well, very negative open interest, delta not really correlating with it. So it shows that there was, I'm on the 1 minute, yeah, I am, some buyback in here. So you came down, triggered a load of stop losses effectively, and then you had a lot of buys coming in, but not too many to really pull the open interest back. It was probably mainly shorts closing, which enabled the delta to creep up a little bit, but the open interest to stay so low. But obviously, shorts closing are buys. But it's not really given us anything to really trade off. It's just been a Darth Maul candle, and there's not really been a trade come of it. Now, what we did get just shortly after was a bullish divergence, but I'm not a big fan of trading when we have a big wick like this, the divergences. But nevertheless, it was here, and you got positive delta after you've had this negative delta coming in with shorts coming in here. As soon as you start to get a brush away, you are trapping some shorts, but again, it's not the most favorable using a wick like this to try and build your divergences. Now, where we are now, let me jump back to the 5 minute. You can see what's the difference between over here and where we are now. Well, we're getting a lot more buyers coming in, a lot more. 6.2 million positive delta on a positive 5 million open interest over here. Positive open delta of 3.3 million, positive open interest of 2. So you've got a lot of longs coming in here. So if this continues, you can expect it to go higher. Now, where can you expect it to go? Well, if it claims the daily, ultimately you're testing the single prints. This is the next level that you're really looking at. And we're still yet to test the single prints. I feel like I've been talking about these for quite some time. We're still yet to test the single prints. But with these buys coming in, if they continue, all good, and you're going to tap the single prints. But where does that, where does that go wrong? Well, pretty much as soon as you put these underwater, as soon as you start to get back below here, you've got a buying tail down here now. If you go to the TPO chart, you've got a buying tail. If you come down and start testing this, chances are it's not the strongest of buying tails. You've got 4 blocks here. As soon as you start getting into it and eating it away, well, then you can start to look lower, and you're probably looking to the daily at that point. I don't think unless we were to come down and do what CVO pointed out, we come down to the lower end of the golden pocket, and then effectively you're single printing. Single printing. That's how long I've been talking about it. So it's on my mind. The SFPing this low from over here, which is probably the only trade that you've got until the daily. But yeah, right now you've got buyers coming in, and as long as they continue and they're not put underwater, it's all good. Rather quick one for me today. I've not really been trading too much, so apologies, guys. Max. Oh, yeah. Sweet. But yeah, CVO, you're up, man.
I was trying to put myself back on. Couldn't figure, my button disappeared. All right, let's see. All right. So single prints and SFPs, man, we need to make a shirt for Max. All right, so looking at Ethereum from yesterday too, right? So we do the weekly roundup, and I kind of do like to walk through the week a little bit and just kind of like reminisce on how we kind of got to where we are, right? So pretty much we've been living in this region for the last few days here. Actually, this is the whole week actually, just from right here. So last Friday, right, we had our FOMC day. I just say that because this is the day we hit it, but you had CPI, right? We ran into our initial target that we were looking at last week. FOMC kind of had a slight SFP over here at the high. And then from there, we were targeting down to the gold pocket. And at the time, this untapped daily, which has obviously been tapped now, came into that on Friday, built up, just a little bit of sideways action over the weekend, pretty clear, accumulation on, the footprint chart for both Bitcoin and Ethereum that, you had a decent amount of longs and shorts to get, missed here. Pretty much we came into the week, took out everybody that was, going long right before the slight move. It wasn't even anything crazy. But from here, what we were targeting after our members only market update, which we do on Sunday, we were targeting 1230, right, for Ethereum, which at the time was our new weekly level. So came into that, I believe, pretty quickly in the week right here. So that was Tuesday. So that was our, major short-term trade here from the daily. I know I took it, and it was a nice little 5% move. Obviously, if you had some leverage on there, depending on what you did, it was a pretty beneficial trade here. So for me, I was actually looking back towards yesterday. We're doing the same exact thing, how Max, described as well, where you came up to these areas, you're basically consolidating right under resistance, which, can be indicative that you're going to, break through, but you really do have to wait for that trigger if you're not in a position, not in from lower or anything like that. So exactly what we discussed yesterday, where you come down, you take the lows, essentially, you knocked out everybody that was probably, potentially trying to long this in this region. And then you actually front ran the gold pocket, which you did come down to. And this is one of those things where you kind of have to have some context around where you're at. Just like Bitcoin, we front ran the gold pocket, but we came right down weekly open, right? So this is a really major area. It's just like a daily open, it's a big area to be back testing. You could have took some risk. I know one of the people, I think it was Right Way in the group, I saw he had a really nice trade he took off of this. I mean, you're talking about splitting hairs over a potential 0.4% to the downside there, right? So anyways, met the weekly open and where we are now. So we got a new daily open comes in right now, which we're essentially holding on to, zooming into the 15-minute, right? You got Darth Maul City as well over here. Doesn't look as extreme as Bitcoin, but you do have essentially, if you were to look at this area, like a little range being built up, right? You can see how, anybody with a stop loss is potentially going to put it around the, above this high for a long, below this low. Did have a daily pivot come in right here as well. So pretty terrible spot to put a stop loss either way. Did come in and tag the daily pivot, whether or not that stopped, a good amount of people out or not. It did, come into our statistical target there. And from here, you'd want to see that daily open reclaimed, which essentially we are potentially doing right now. You got the VWAP right overhead. And also you're coming in this 1220, 1219 region. I think it was T-Bone in the group calling out that this was an old SFP area that we were having a lot of trouble getting through. But regardless, flipping that, you got the daily open below us now at the moment, and you flip this VWAP here at 1221. Imagine we're going to challenge up a little bit, right? So the next move here, potentially, we're going to look at a couple of confluences here, right? So I put up the 0.5 up here. And once again, just shouting out T-Bone in the group. I got the T-Bone shark labeled here, right? So he had this potential shark labeled out, which has played out pretty nicely, right? You had a target area once we came into the D zone, target area back to B. Obviously, that's been met and held. Potentially, this could turn into a 5-0, which we have to at least claim or at least meet to the 0.5 fib here. And then potentially going down to our next target there of like 1,038, right? So we'll see how things kind of go. This can also reach all the way up to the gold pocket and still be valid, obviously, for that as well. And so T-Bone Shark, take that one off. Regardless, a couple other things that we're going to line up here too. So we've got the current range here, right, which we have one of these, nice little P-shaped volume profiles, which is indicative of a continuation to the upside as well, right? Because we do have a slight uptrend on our hands. Not to say that this is going to go straight to, $1,500, but to break this little range and meet these couple targets above us is, in the cards here. You can also see that we have the value area high comes in, essentially, right where we're running into, bumping our heads on, right? About 1230. So once again, that weekly level that we were targeting in the week, this is still going to remain a big area to flip in the short term. So for me, realistically, 1230, right? If you're looking for potentially a new entry, it's one of those things it gets risky as you, kind of already have an impulse. But if you come up and you claim that, that 1230 area specifically, it's going to be your current, value area high. You got your weekly area as well. So if you come in for that, potentially got a short-term move up here. Would it be worth it is the question, right? Because you're talking a couple percentage. I mean, so, it depends on how you're going to put a stop loss if you're going to try to take this up. Otherwise, I'm currently really looking for some shorts in this region if we do come up to these areas. So let's see what else we got here. So we got that going on. We've got our weekly regression here, which has been really nice. All right, so we'll turn off this. Right, so you had your pullback here, and then where did we go? Basically straight to the top of our regression here. So now we're kind of diddling in the middle. We got our, our pivot here. So a push higher into this region kind of aligns well with our 0.5 as well. So just building up some confluences around these targets. This would also be in line with Bitcoin, pushing up approximately the same amount of percentage gains, maybe even, Ethereum pushes a little higher depending. But this is like in the idea that, we see like 17.2, 17.5. These are the areas I'd be looking for out of ETH if we come up to it. And we've got our larger range here, right? So also where we're at right now, when you're looking at a potential for, entering a new position, you've got our overall range that we're looking at right here. And I'd say overall, this is just a higher time frame here, and it's not necessarily the overall range. But we've been building this out for a few weeks here so far. So re-entering once again this 1221, into this 1230. You got a couple of stair steps here for confirmation here. You'd be re-entering now this range here. One thing to note is right under the golden pocket, which, like I said, you got 0.5. Basically this point of control, which, I would imagine we'd actually run up and, potentially take this golden pocket here, take this little local high. But what we did here on the way down is, you left this point of control naked, right? You just came through, you slammed it right through, never back tested it quite yet. Doesn't have to be back tested now. And personally, I would actually prefer to leave this naked going into next month, because that would give us a really nice target. If we, meet some of our other potential areas below us, this would be a nice area to come back to. So really that 0.5 is just something to really, monitor at the moment, that 1251. If Bitcoin pushes it higher, though, I wouldn't imagine, Ethereum is probably not going to just only push up 1.5%. So that's why I give this little boxed area pretty much. So we got a little confluence around that region. You got your 0.5, got a potential entry here for anybody that's not in a position. And right, yeah, you got that val, which is scooting around, but it's pretty much in that right where we're at here. And then we've got, take off that parallel channel, a little bit of a higher time frame, right? We're going to look at our regression on this as well. And, it's been getting it pretty nicely. It's not necessarily the end all be all on something to really, just put a stop loss or, an entry on. But when you kind of start stacking everything over each other, if you picture us to actually, move this to the high side here, it's really in line with our 0.5 area. So getting a rejection off this region, not out of the cards. A couple of things do line up with that 0.5. So just really want to not overlook that, just because we do have the gold pocket up here. The gold pocket, to me, and just like yesterday, it's a potential area that we would front run, because I would imagine that most are looking for it, waiting for it, right? So it's a tough one. And like I said, that point of control, I would really like to leave it for now and come back to it, because if we do start getting a rejection around these areas, right, like we're still potentially looking down towards potentially under $1,000 Ethereum. If this move really gets underway, we meet this untapped daily. This untapped daily is not a just put a limit order buy down here, unless you're just looking to get some long-term spot position, because this is more so a target, right? If we actually start making our way down, this is a target, not a buy area right off the rip. If we do make our way down there, I would imagine we push through it, and then you'd be looking for the reclaim is what we'd be looking for. And then potentially we come back, and this is just a straight up speculative idea, but say we make our way down, get the reclaim, leave that POC, it'd be a really nice trade, just short term. As we maybe walk into next year, but yet to be seen on that end. So really just take it for what it's worth in front of us. If we get the re-entry into the larger range here, I think the 0.5 is really on the cards. It's not a huge move. I know that sounds so small, but potentially a 2 or 3% move. I mean, we're not really getting this whole week. Actually, what did we move? Walked in on here, and we had a 7% window here. With for the majority of the time, we've been just ranging within 2%. So opportunity is there, and like I said, don't you don't have to rush into something like that. Maybe you don't even want to have a position at the moment. Just look for the reactions at these areas, and if we blow through it, claim the monthly open, well, then things can start changing. What else did I have on here? We already covered that one. All right, so. This is the overall range. So looking at this as well, it just kind of points out the point of control more than anything. Right. So this is our, this is definitely our, our larger range that we're looking at here, which front ran the high just a bit when we hit that. What is going on? There we go. So you front ran the high just a bit here, right? Which would have been a really nice. This is potentially what I was looking for when we were coming up to this region, was to get just a little bit of a push higher, potentially hit the value area high and then come through. We just got that barely $1, break above here. You didn't even really take this high over here, which was very interesting. But either way, this was the move at hand that we were looking for, right? Was a break of the monthly, come back below, close below it, and then we'd be taking it down. You do have, like I said, just kind of where we went here. You rotated the range in full, so potentially coming back and tagging the point of control is definitely on the on the docket right now, and that it does line up with the gold pocket as well. So really just in this little mix right here. Other thing to just kind of look for over the potential week. We might not get anything over this weekend, but it's I don't know. It's interesting. We got almost nothing throughout the week, so we'll see how things kind of go. Maybe everybody's getting this huge storm across the country, so I just can see the headlines being that everybody was buying Bitcoin while they were in the house, smelling their mistletoe magic candles. Taking a little zoom out to our high time frame range and scribbling on it, because that's how we do it. Still living below this major area, right? So potentially coming through, poking some of those the 0.5 gold pocket. Maybe we don't even break through here, right? This is one of those times where it's really interesting. I would imagine we're going to see a little push higher though. But if we break through, tag these areas, come back and close below, that to me would be more fuel in the idea that we're going to come down and tag this untapped daily once and for all, right? And once again, broken record, I say 1,038, and this is Coinbase, so it's 1,031. But more than anything, I would look for this, right? Come through, knock out those stops, knock out these stops, basically run everybody out except for this one. And this one to me is just, I can't imagine anybody really has a stop loss below that area unless you're just holding your spot trades and you got an alert there. And if you break below this, you're just going to dump your bag for some reason, which wouldn't be a terrible reason, because potentially we could come all the way down to our devil's basement. But right now, I just don't see that happening. I would see more so this would be a really, really decent opportunity to get a big bounce for a bit, and then eventually possibly come back down and take this low. But this one is specifically, just a really wide area, because if anybody's in positions where the stop loss is possible, from this region to this region alone is like 11%, 13%. So you'd have to have like a 1x long or something, like if you even, I'd hope, unless you're just going straight, liquidation mode. But for the most part, if anybody's long in this region, right, stop losses below anything here. This is one of those times where we were talking, multiple times here, that this has been several months now. And imagine how many people actually got decent long opportunities here, watched a ton of gains come in, did not take a single profit because everybody was anticipating just going back to 50K Bitcoin, potentially, just V-shape recovering out of there, just to watch it all slowly. You got a little couple pops, a little excitement, still never took any profit, and now, essentially came back down to where you almost entered, if not below it. Scared everybody a little bit there, right? And then you got some new long potential here, because now we got the timing was on our side. Potentially got 15K was the bottom, and structurally it just looks like there's so much below here. Like, to come down here and take this would just be money, right? So just the idea at hand at the moment will still yet to be seen on how it plays out. But yeah, we definitely want to pay attention to this area right here. And as far as upside goes, realistically, claim that monthly level 1347, 1350, flip this into support. We're looking up gold pocket, quarterly key level, flip that, and then you got the untapped weekly up here. These levels still remain the same for quite a while. All right, my rambling is done. Yeah, we're gonna make a holiday sweater for Max with some SFPs and some single prints. We'll call them Santa prints. All right, so that is about all the time we have for you this afternoon. A nice little weekly roundup. Hopefully that all makes sense and you all gain some something from our stream here. I do want to point out before we get off here that in my stockings behind my head here, we have a nice special going on for the remainder of this month. And that is, if you go to our website, which our link is in the information box below, with our Discord server as well. If anybody's interested in joining for the remainder of this month, we are offering a half off special for your first month. in my opinion, it's really good value as it is, and then half off just to kind of get your feet wet is definitely something, in my opinion, that's worth taking. You can come to our website here and get a glance of what we offer here. A lot of live streams. We do some exclusive members only market updates on Wednesdays and Sundays. We have exclusive live trading sessions 3 times a week. We've got a 14 video step-by-step, academy here to kind of go over all of our tools and resources that we use daily, terminology, just so you know, it's a little different than most, some reviews here as well. And if you just come into the website, click on memberships, you can choose a couple of options. And you do get discounts if you want to choose some of the larger plans. But if you want to try enjoy the half off, just do the monthly and put in code BTC22. BTC22 drops you down to $29.50. Try it for the month. If you don't love it, obviously cancel at any time. Otherwise, that is about all we have for you all today. So I'm really enjoying the holiday spirit. Not really from Dubai. I feel like Dubai is just kind of, not feeling the mistletoe magic today. But other than that, you guys got anything to add before we wrap it up for the holiday week?
I have my snowman.
Oh, I didn't see that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't really have anything. Stay warm, guys. Trade the levels for what they are. If we get a little holiday pump, that would be fun, but I'm not really counting on it, I suppose. It's kind of it's going to be a lackluster volume, I think, over the weekend. So, maybe go out and do something with your family.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, definitely enjoy some holiday time, some family time. We got, I think Monday, the markets are, what's that?
You should too, out in the snow, freeze.
I'm not, no, dude. I have a hard time getting my dog to go outside. He knows how cold it is now, so he doesn't want to go out there. But I'm not going to risk having him take a dump on the floor. So.
Dude, my dog would die in temperatures like
that.
Oh, dude,
your dog's done. Like, it goes outside like probably.
He'd be frozen right away.
Yeah.
No, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I hope that clears up for everybody. That is pretty intense. Some of the things I'm seeing from people I know up in the northern part of the country is literally mind blowing.
Yeah,
it's like that movie The Day After Tomorrow where they that big storm comes in and you go outside and you can't breathe.
Tomorrow it's supposed to be better here. We're going to be like up in the 20s in terms of temp, so that'll be nice.
That fucking heat wave, man.
Yeah. Max is over there like, I don't know what that means. That's like it's like -4 for you. Yeah.
I'm in a hoodie. I'm in a hoodie now, and it's 25 degrees
Celsius.
Yes. So I don't even know what that is in Fahrenheit.
That's like 70 degrees, dude.
Yeah. I'm in it's 22. It's 22, and I'm in a hoodie.
Okay. Yeah. Your snowman will melt if.
Nick says he'd rather live in California than deal with -50. Yeah. That I don't know, man. I think at that point, if I was going to do that, I'd just move down to like Arizona or maybe like
might as well go to Mexico at that point.
Yeah. Hey, man.
You in Mexico, dude. What is up? Like, you got some setup out there?
It just sounds better than LA.
It's pretty much LA.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, everybody, happy holidays if you're celebrating, to your family and ours, from our family to you guys, however you want to word that. I kind of butchered that, but I'm going to hop off.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, everyone. Take it easy, everybody. Till next time.